In this video, we'll discuss how to name and write formulas for ionic compounds that have polyatomic ions. In this example, every cation is sodium, and the anions all look the same, but they're different. So we use our polyatomic ion chart to find the most common of those anions, and the most common one is chlorate. And we know that it's the most common because it ends with 8. So chlorate is the most common, ClO3. The form that has one less oxygen, ClO2, is called chlorite. We change the 8 to a ite. And then if there are two less oxygens, we call it hypochlorite. Now remember, our most common form is chlorate. If there's one more oxygen than chlorate, we call it perchlorate. We give it a prefix of per and we keep the ending as 8. So to name these, we just simply write the name of the cation and then the anion. Sodium chlorate, sodium chlorite, sodium hypochlorite, sodium perchlorate. The formulas, remember, we have to have a zero charge overall, so 1 minus 1 gives you 0, which is really nice because that's just one of each. So our formula is just simply NaClO. So it'll work the same for all of these, positive 1, negative 1, one of each, positive 1, negative 1. So these are all going to work out the same because the charges have the same magnitude. Opposite charge, but the same magnitude of 1. It's not always that easy. In the case of SN4 and then SO4 2 negative, we have a different magnitude of charges. So SN4 has two different charges. We have to name it according to that. We have sulfate. We can use the formula to get the name of that polyatomic ion. So 10,4 sulfate. More than one charge, we name it based on the charge. The formula, we have 10,4, that's a positive 4 and a negative 2. 4 minus 2 does not equal 0. 4 minus 4 equals 0. So we need an extra sulfate. 2 sulfates gives you negative 4. So 110, 2 sulfates. Remember, we don't include the charges when we write our formulas, right? So SnSO4 2. Next, we have zinc and hypochlorite. So you look over here, is zinc a transition metal? Yes, it is, but guess what? It only has one charge. That's nice. Those are easy to name. Hypochlorite, you use the formula to get the name. So it is zinc hypochlorite. Zinc is positive 2, hypochlorite's negative 1. 2 minus 2 is 0, not 2 minus 1. So we need an extra hypochlorite. We have two negatives, that's the same thing as negative 2. 1 zinc for every 2 hypochlorites. But remember, this is a neutral compound, so there's no charge now. They're combined in a compound. So the formula is ZnClO2. Pause the video and try the last two on your own. Fe2 positive, NO2 negative. Iron has more than one charge, so we call that iron 2. NO2 is nitrite. We can either swap and drop, or we can use the strategy we were talking about earlier. So FeNO2 2. And then last is sodium iodate, and that would be NaIO3.